It has been a crazy past 2 weeks in the NFL. There has been a lot of coaches getting fired and hired, a lot of crazy playoff action, and a lot of crazy endings to the games. And it's our first video with face cams. So, with all that being said, let's begin. So, today's video will start off with the wild card. The first game that happened last Saturday was the Bears versus Packers with the final score of 31 to 27. And the Packers losing, and the Bears advancing to the divisional round for the first time in over 10 years. Tanner, what are your thoughts about that game?
Um, in my predictions, by the way, I was perfect. By the way, I said this was gonna happen, and it happened. I knew that the Bears were gonna win. The team that was home every single time won, and yeah, the Bears won, and it was a good game, and yeah,
Yeah, I think Caleb Williams really showed that he can be a franchise quarterback and that how he can hold himself in these playoff games and how even if the weather isn't against him or maybe the start of the game didn't go his way, he can really bounce back and really like show us the type of quarterback he can be. And I think that was really good for the Bears because now the Bears, even though they drafted Caleb Williams first overall, now the Bears can be like, yeah, he's our guy and we're going to ride with him till the end. Our next game we're going to talk about is the Rams and Panthers. Now, the Panthers going into this season, I don't think anybody really expected them to go this far, to even make the playoffs. Everybody expected the Bucks to kind of just go in to the NFC South, a very weak division, and kind of just run the table. And for the first like 8 weeks of the season, the Bucks were doing that. The Bucks were at one point 6-2 and looked like they were gonna go make a playoff run, and they didn't look like previous year's Bucks teams where it was like, and they won the division, but they're not really a team to be afraid of. But this year they looked like they were good. Their losses came to the Eagles, which is a kind of a credible team. They were Super Bowl champs, and they were winning games. Like they were actually winning games, looking good, and then they kind of just fell off. And the Panthers like really took off. So, and then for the Rams, obviously they came into the season have very high expectations, and they've met those expectations fully. But Tanner, what do you think about the Panthers' performance against a very good Rams team in the playoffs?
yeah. So I actually thought this was going to be close because in the regular season, the Panthers beat the Rams, and I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I think this is going to be close and it was going to be a good game, but the Rams won. And like the Panthers, I think they played well. From what I can remember, it was close and like they were actually scoring. I don't remember it fully, but it was close. I don't,
It was 34-31.
yeah. I feel like the Panthers defense was I feel like it was good if I remember. Like I feel like Matthew Stafford didn't have a great game. I mean, they scored 34 points, but like I don't know. I feel like Matthew Stafford didn't have a great game if I remember.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess um yeah, if I remember, I feel like they couldn't run the ball or it's just filmed later. Yeah, I feel like they couldn't run the ball, and yeah, I feel like I don't know. I feel like they need to work on something with either the O line or just something in the defense in general.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I agree. I feel like Bryce Young really kind of overperformed in this game. I think expectations were pretty low for him because we've seen how he played in the first 2 years of his career. And he goes into this game and he really plays really well. And honestly, they had a chance in that game. Obviously, the Jimmy Horn drop late in that game, but they definitely had some chances in that game. But I feel like for what you were able to do in that game against the Rams, who are now in the NFC Championship game, that's impressive. You lost by 3 points. You put up 31 points against a Rams defense that everybody was talking about all season long, and you're a Panthers team that your number one target was a rookie, and your number two target was Xavier Leggett, who has been severely underwhelming. And obviously, Jalen Coker had a crazy game, had a career game. I think they significantly overperformed the expectations, and I think they'll be fine going forward. I feel like this was a very good bridge point kind of year for them. And this is like kind of letting everybody know Bryce Young, he's the future of this team, and he can lead our team. And we're just like one or two pieces away from really contending.
Yeah. Another thing I want to say. I mean, they won 34-31. The Panthers on a punt return, they coughed up the football, and I think it probably led to 7. Like if they don't fumble there, then the Panthers like may have won this game. Like it was that close.
Yeah,
It just came on like the turnovers, and also Bryce Young threw a pick, but
yeah,
it just came on turnovers. They had more than the Rams.
yeah. Now we're gonna move to the Sunday night slate of games, and that first Sunday night game was the Jaguars versus Bills, where Buffalo ended up winning 27-24. I, in my original video of predictions, I said Buffalo was gonna win, but that the days leading up to that, I was saying Jacksonville was gonna win. I was full kind of prepared for Jacksonville to take that kind of jump because they did go 13-4, and history was showing that Josh Allen against great defenses would fall apart. And of course, Josh Allen didn't fall apart. James Cook had an amazing game. Trevor Lawrence, he played good. Josh Allen played great. And Khalil Shakir had 12 catches for 83 yards in that game. You know, like, that game, honestly, it was a great game. And that game could have gone either way. But I think the one thing that comes down to that game was Cam Little. And that fourth down where Trevor Lawrence, it's 4th and 2, Trevor Lawrence is running. And he kind of dives for the first down, but his knee gets touched, like, down. So I feel like in this game, it could have gone either way. It was very close. But I feel like what really hurt Jacksonville was, one, the missed field goal at the end of the half, and two, that early kind of mistake by Trevor Lawrence. Instead of maybe cutting outside, he dives trying to get the first down inside, and it doesn't work. I think Jacksonville will be fine, and I think for Buffalo, I feel like Buffalo really like kind of showed that they could be a good team and that this was going to be their year. But yeah, Tanner, what do you think about this game?
Um, from this game, I feel like I don't know. I just feel like it was a very good game, by the way. But the the Jags could have won this game easily.
Yeah,
On that last drive, like they had an actual full drive, like I think 50 seconds,
yeah,
or and they Trevor threw a pick on the first play. Like they
not his
easily
fault.
could have won this game.
That pick was not his fault. He threw it. He,
Okay,
he threw it over the middle of the field, and Jacoby Myers just dropped it.
nah,
You
it was a
think?
great defensive play, but
Yeah,
anyway, he also had another pick in this game. So I feel like it comes to turnovers. Like if you don't have those 2 picks, or okay, 1 pick earlier, then you're like that could have led to a field goal or a touchdown. And then in that final drive, if you don't throw that pick, you could have got a field goal. You Cam Little, he kicked like 67 yards.
yeah,
Yeah, like I don't know. I feel like he was just I feel like he panicked. Like he's in the playoffs, he doesn't know. Like take it slow. It's okay. And yeah, I feel like they'll definitely be back next year, and I feel like it just comes down to turnovers again.
yeah. I feel like in this game, it really came down to being new to that playoff environment. Like Buffalo, they've been there every single year of Josh Allen's career, except his rookie season. So Josh Allen knows what it takes to go into an away environment against a team and win. Josh Allen's done that. He's been there. He knows what it's like to be in the playoffs. And he's treating that game like it's an important game, but he's probably treating that game like it's week 1. Like, it's like it's not the stakes aren't as high for Josh Allen in that game because he's done it so many times. But for Trevor Lawrence, that was only his 3rd playoff game, and for like a lot of the other Jaguars players, they were still young. They were still very new to the playoffs, and so I can understand why some of them underperformed. It felt like Cam Little missing the kick due to nerves, and I feel like once you clean up those rookie mistakes, if you were to take a if you were to take away those mistakes that the Jaguars made, the Jaguars are winning that game 100 times over. But for
Yeah.
Buffalo, it's a great win.
Mhm.
Now, for our next game, the 49ers versus the Eagles. Now, the Eagles are my favorite team. And I originally predicted Philly was going to win. And so did a lot of America. They predicted Philly was going to win. But, of course, as we know, San Francisco wins that game. Philly had every opportunity in that game to win that game. They had Quinton Mitchell had 2 picks. Jake Elliott, of course, he missed the field goal. They had a 4th and 11 situation to win the game, and Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni call up 4 verticals at their own 15-yard line. What are we doing? Genuinely. You see, this isn't Madden, so you're not going to have some wide open dude. This is real life. And we see that they are running, cover 4? So, of course, the end zone is going to be covered. You need a touchdown. So, of course, they're going to cover the end zone. And you call up 4 verticals with your season on the line. And also, defensively, we just let Christian McCaffrey do whatever he wanted. And Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was getting every throw downfield he wanted. I mean, defense was obviously forcing stops in that third quarter and kind of early in that fourth quarter. But in that, later in that fourth quarter, they were just doing whatever they wanted, you know? It was just a bad, sloppy game for the Eagles. And I really think this game really just showed what the Eagles' full season has been like.
Yeah, in this game, the Eagles, they're just bad.
Yeah,
It's not the same as last year.
yeah,
You can't just run it up the middle and run it and give it to Saquon 20 times and then do a QB sneak or the tush push and
Yeah.
it work every time. People the teams have realized what they're doing
yeah,
and they're also doing it themselves. And Kevin Patullo, he got fired, I think. Yeah, he
yeah. He
got
got
fired.
fired.
As he should have. He was terrible. Next year, I think they're going to be back because they're going to get someone hopefully better than Kevin Patullo because he was terrible. Yeah, and then AJ Brown, we don't know if he's going to be here next year. I think he will probably, but it's not up to me, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then he was complaining on the sideline, I remember, but I mean, you can't complain. You had I think he had 2 drops or something. One of them I remember.
yeah,
And yeah, I feel like he had no room to complain because it was on him, some of those.
yeah.
And yeah, he was getting all mad, and I don't know, his future on this team is questionable. What do you think, coming from an Eagles fan?
I think AJ Brown. I feel like early in the season, AJ Brown's complaints were valid, in the sense of the team had struggles, and AJ Brown sees these struggles, and of course, as someone, if you're on the team and you're a superstar on the team, and you've been a key part of this offense for the years that you've been here, of course you're gonna want to contribute more, and I think early in the season he sees these struggles and he sees the team's not competing the way we have been for all these years, and I'm not contributing. And of course, you want to be a contributing piece and you want the team to succeed. But I feel like the way he went about these complaints ultimately detrimented the team. He was very public about it. He was very adamant that he didn't like what was going on, and that's fine. But he didn't. The issue didn't solve at all. It actually made it worse. All these false reports, all these reports that your relationship with Nick Sirianni's bad, your relationship with Jalen Hurts is bad. That doesn't help the narrative, and that ultimately worsens the kind of culture, atmosphere in the locker room. And I feel like that just all kind of cultivated into that wild card game where we see that altercation on the sideline with Nick Sirianni and AJ Brown. And then literally after that altercation, AJ Brown didn't do anything in the second half. His most important moment in the second half was having a drop on third down. And so I feel like AJ Brown was valid in the beginning with these complaints, but I feel like going public about it was not the best way to solve the issue.
Yeah. 100%. Because like, I feel like it all just adds up, and obviously you want to win. Like all those not getting targeted, not getting the receptions. It just all builds up into like the most important game when you're losing. Obviously, you're gonna be mad,
Yeah.
and yeah, I feel like it just all added up till that final game.
Yeah. And for the final game on Sunday night, we saw the Patriots play the Chargers. Not much to say about this game. Chargers rolled out probably the worst O-line of all time in a playoff game. Patriots had their way with Justin Herbert, and Drake May just needed he just did what he needed to do to win, and he got the job done. There's not much to say about that game. It was just Drake May really just doing what he needed to do. He didn't have to do anything special. It was a very defensive game, kind of boring game, and Patriots took care of business. Now,
What I want to say, hold on. What I want to say from that game, Justin Herbert needs help. Like
yeah,
he had a ton of injury. I get it. Joe Alt was hurt. Rashawn Slater was out for like the year.
yeah,
Like their O line was supposed to be great at the beginning of the season, and it turned in like the worst O line.
yeah.
Like I feel like in the draft or this offseason, you need to just draft O line at all costs because that's what's holding your team back.
Yeah, because their defense is fine. Their defense isn't the problem. Justin Herbert has all these weapons. Trey Harris, Lat McConkey, Quinshawn Judkins, Keenan Allen, probably going to retire. It's not. It's like there's not anything. If you just get Justin Herbert some good O linemen, it's on Justin Herbert after that, and I think they'll be fine. Now
Yeah.
on Monday night, we saw the Texans walk into Pittsburgh and beat them 30-6. This game was kind of boring for most of it. Most of this game, it was 7-6 for the pretty much entire time. It was just punt, 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 defense, defense, defense. And then in the fourth quarter, really, the Texans just exploded and walked away with it. Obviously, they had the pick six. What do you think about this game? And specifically, what do you think about the Steelers' future in regards to Aaron Rodgers potentially retiring?
What I think about this game, like everyone knew that coming in it was going to be a defensive game. The Steelers defense, they don't really score a lot, and then the Texans rely on their defense clearly.
Yeah.
Anyway, um, about this game, like I don't know, we played good. Like obviously it was 7-6, and then our defense just like fully exploded at the end, which we do. Our defense is just great. And yeah, so the score says 30-6, but like realistically, like it was a close game until that fourth quarter where the defense just went nuts. And the
Yeah.
final play, or the final throw, we got a pick six. So really it was closer than it seems. And I feel like we did good. We had a lot of sacks. Offensively, we Marks I think had the most rushing yards he's had all season. He had
Yeah.
112.
And Charlie
We
Kirk had a good game. Kristen
uh,
Kirk. Kristen Kirk had a great game. And
yeah.
yeah.
Um. Yeah, and then C.J. Stroud. Yeah, he didn't play terrible. He had that pick. I don't remember it fully, but he had that. Oh no, I do remember it. In the red zone, he throws a pick, and then I feel like we fumbled multiple times in the red zone. Like we should have actually, yeah, we should have won this game by a lot. We played better on offense clearly, and then our defense was better. So I think the score makes sense.
Yeah.
And for the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers didn't have a great game, but I mean, literally their entire offense is just Kenneth Gainwell and Jalen Warren, and then
Yeah.
throwing it to DK Metcalf sometimes. So,
DK did have that drop in the second half.
oh yeah, he had that drop that would have I think made a touchdown, or it was a big gain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously, like his stats aren't going to show that he did great because they don't throw the ball downfield, or like they only throw it like to their running backs and the short passes.
Yeah.
But I don't think he played bad. That last pick was whatever.
Yeah,
And yeah,
I feel like part of the reason that the Steelers offense couldn't get going in that game was because the Texans defense just have it on lockdown. Every It's like that Texans defense, like every position is just stacked with talent. It's like safety, they're good. Cornerback, they're good. They have two of the top best cornerbacks in the league. Linebacker, the most hard hitting linebackers in the league. And their D line, you have Will Anderson, and then across from him is Daniil Hunter. That interior O line or the D line's great. So it's like it's hard to put up points against this defense because they lock it down. And that's why like I'm so disappointed with how the Texans season ended because they really played with a generational defense that had no holes at all. And the outcome that happened from this season is it's just disappointing. But with that being said, the wild card has been concluded, and so is the divisional. So with that being said, we're gonna move on to the divisional round. And in the divisional round, the first game, the Seahawks versus 49ers. One of the most hyped up games of the playoffs up to this point, and everybody's saying what's going to happen. You get round 3. We obviously saw week 18, the Seahawks beat the 49ers at home or in San Francisco with the final score of 13-3. 13-3. They hold the 49ers to 3 points. And we saw in this game why the Seahawks held the 49ers to 3 points.
uh, yeah. So really, really, it was just belt in this game.
Yeah.
It just showed like the different levels of
Yeah.
the actual playoffs. I think in the regular season, actually, I think the Niners won both times. Or
The Niners won week 1 and the Seahawks won week 18.
okay, but I feel like they were good games. And then this game, Brock Purdy showed who he actually is.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, it was just Bell. I don't know.
It
The
wasn't even
Seahawks
like
destroyed them. Like from play one, you knew what was gonna happen
yeah,
from
it
the
was
out.
like from that first kickoff, you could just tell this game was over. And like the thing is about this game, Sam Darnold didn't even have a great game. He was 12-17, 124 passing yards and a touchdown, no turnovers. So like when you look at this game, like what would happen in some of these Seahawks games throughout the season was they would make Sam Darnold the offense beat you, but the defense really was just crazy good in this game. Like they didn't let Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey have anything. Nothing. Like there was no offense that could get going for the Seahawks or for the 49ers, and it showed. And really, for the Seahawks, you got to win it all this year. I think this year is your year to really do it. And for the 49ers, it's like the 49ers are cursed. Like 2019, you had every opportunity to beat the Chiefs. Then 2021, you lose because an interception downfield gets dropped in the NFC Championship. Then NFC Championship the year later, Brock Purdy gets injured. Then the Super Bowl the year after. Once again, every opportunity to beat Patrick Mahomes, and you don't. And so, I feel like with the 49ers, things have to change. And I know their injury luck is just horrible, but things like have to change in San Francisco because they've been running with that same kind of philosophy, the same core players, and it's amounted to playoff success. But a fan base, an organization will get tired when you have the same exact playoff success. And if that playoff success isn't a championship or championships, teams will get tired. Teams will get tired of going deep into the playoffs and not amounting to that and not amounting to anything. And we saw that with Sean McDermott. And
Mm.
I think for the 49ers, things need to change this offseason. But for Seattle, just go all the way. Who's going to stop you now? Now,
Yeah. Oh
no,
no,
you
you're good.
go.
Um. Yeah, I was just gonna really recap it. Yeah, it was just Bell. Yeah, and like for what you said, like if like the same team, if he gets the same spot every single time, like something's got to change. I mean, you saw it with the Steelers and Mike Tomlin. You now see it with the Bills, and I think and the Texans they're getting to that point. But yeah, I feel like if you keep seeing the same thing over and over again, something's got to change in it. What you said. Okay.
Yeah. Now, for on Saturday, the first game that happened on Saturday was the Broncos and Bills, and that game was a great game. I think that game was one of the better playoff games we've seen, and that game really, I think showed Josh Allen is a playoff fraud. I think Josh Allen's on the same tier of playoff performers as Lamar Jackson. Because listen, you're gonna say it's a hot take, but everybody said it's Josh Allen's year. Everybody said you don't have Patrick Mahomes, you don't have Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson to stop you. But I said in my original video, Buffalo's going to get to a situation where they're going to have to play Denver. And I said Denver's going to win. And what did Denver do? They took care of business. And I originally said at the beginning of this video, I said Josh Allen does not play good against great defenses. We saw that against Houston. We saw that against Philly. We saw that against Miami. We've seen instances this season where Josh Allen against a great defense is the sole reason his team loses. And we saw that on Saturday. We saw Josh Allen have 4 turnovers in a playoff game. Now, I think part of the narrative with Josh Allen is that he just had to play Patrick Mahomes, and a lot of these games weren't his fault necessarily. But at a certain point, when your team constantly loses, and it's not pushed on you like it's your fault, like Lamar Jackson in some of these playoff games, the narrative can kind of get pushed on him like it's your fault for losing. Josh Allen, that same narrative doesn't get pushed on him, and people kind of say, oh, he's not the reason they lost, but this game he's the reason they lost. And I think we have to start talking about Josh Allen not being as good of a playoff performer as people like to think.
Yeah, this loss was completely on Josh Allen. Like you had everything. You had no one else in the playoffs, but you still lost. Like, and that fumble right before halftime, where the Broncos ended up getting a field goal. If that doesn't happen, then the Bills win because it doesn't go into overtime, and ultimately they don't kick the field goal. Like he just sold. Like he had two fumbles, or no, 3 fumbles. 2 of them were lost, and then he had 2 picks. Like you're just not gonna win when that happens.
Yeah,
Like ultimately, like the fact that they only lost by 3 and had that many turnovers is great. Like they should have won this game. Josh Allen just sold.
yeah,
Um, and they had no pressure for what I'm seeing. They had 0 sacks compared to the Broncos. They always get pressure. Um, yeah, I think it just came down to Josh Allen. You know, and then if they win this game, they they probably go to the Super Bowl because Bo Nix broke his ankle,
yeah.
and obviously maybe Nick Foles situation again, but I feel
Jared
like if
Stidham
they
stepping
win,
up.
yep, I feel like if they win this game, they go to the Super Bowl. So
Yeah,
yeah, Josh Allen just let his team down, let Buffalo down.
yeah. And subsequently following this game, a report today by ESPN and Adam Schefter, Sean McDermott got fired. And I honestly do not like this firing at all because like I said before, Josh Allen, at a certain point, some of the blame needs to go on you. But Sean McDermott, in his coaching tenure, has taken the Bills repeatedly to the playoffs. And let's think about this real quick. In the games that they've lost, how many of them were really bad coaching? Let's think. The 2020 playoff game against in the AFC Championship against the Chiefs. They were in no situation to win that game. The Chiefs had a better roster. Following year, you get the infamous playoff game that was the OT game where Josh Allen played the best game of his life. Patrick Mahomes played the best game of his life. Coaching doesn't matter in that game. When you have two offenses that are high scoring, no defense is going to stop that. Let's think the year after, they had a kick to win the game. Tyler Bass misses a kick. And then you lose to the Chiefs again. And you lose to the Chiefs again. And then you lose to the Bengals. So it's like Sean McDermott has taken you to the playoffs repeatedly year after year after year after year. And when you have a coach that can do that, I don't think it's on him for this kind of loss when Josh Allen played horrible.
Yeah, I think that firing was terrible. Like, there was a stat like since Sean McDermott was there, like they were gone to the playoffs. Like I think as soon as he got there, maybe the season after, they went to the playoffs and they've been there since. Like I don't think he should have been fired for Josh Allen's performance. Like
Yeah.
I think that wasn't good. Like he got fired because Josh Allen played bad.
Yeah,
I don't think that's on him.
I 100% agree. I think if I think for the Bills, they need to get Josh Allen some more weapons and a better O line. And I think this game wasn't on Sean McDermott at all. I think Sean McDermott in this situation was used as a scapegoat to kind of be like, we haven't had it's like the 49ers. We've made deep playoff runs, but it hasn't amounted to any championships. And a fan base will get tired of it, and an ownership will get tired of just constant divisional round championships, maybe a Super Bowl appearance, and then not winning it. A team will get tired of constantly being in that period where you're a contending team but can never really get over the hump. And Sean McDermott was used as a scapegoat when this game and some of these other playoff games haven't been on Sean McDermott and the coaching staff. It's really just been you either had a bad quarterback play or your team just got outplayed. And I don't think Sean McDermott deserved to get fired from this game.
Yeah, 100%. Now, I think we should talk about the Texans and the Patriots.
Oh yeah, Texans Patriots.
My Texans, Mr. CJ. What are we doing?
Yeah, 4 interceptions
Four
in the first half.
interceptions in the first half. When I was watching this game, he was getting pressured and he would just throw it up and just pray someone was there.
And but
Like it was so bad. And he's from Texas, he plays at Texas. I mean, so I guess he's not used to the weather. But actually, he played at Ohio State anyway. Like I don't know. I guess he was being Sam Darnold. He was just seeing ghosts. Like we had a generational defense, and it's gone. I mean, maybe they'll be there next year. Maybe they'll be as good. We don't know. But like we could have made it so far if he doesn't have 4 picks.
yeah,
Like we literally Drake May fumbled 4 times. Like we got to him so much.
it's like the thing is, like when you look at the box score, right? When you look at the stats and everything, and you see CJ Stroud threw 4 interceptions and it was only a 12-point game. Like what happened in this game? And then you look at it like Drake May fumbled 4 times. So if your defense can make another quarterback fumble 4 times, your offense has to take full advantage of it, and they didn't. They fell asleep completely. And I think this is just a very big letdown because CJ Stroud, I feel like, has kind of been getting exposed. Like his rookie season, right? You look at it, and we're thinking, wow, he had an incredible rookie season. Nobody thought the Texans would be 10-7, win their division, and go to the divisional round. And then he gets eliminated, and people are like, in all things considered, it's a great season, and they just ran into a better team. The year after, you make these additions, and then they go, well, they're 10-7 again. C.J. Stroud like kind of regressed, didn't have as good of a season, but they make it to divisional, lose to a better team. Then in his third season, now you're like, okay, we've had 2 straight 10-7 seasons in a divisional round exit. This is the year we put it all together, and they did. They went 12-5, and but once again, C.J. Stroud didn't have all that of a great season. I know he was hurt for some games, but still, C.J. Stroud regressed from his rookie season, which is not something you want to do, and we saw that in this game.
Yeah, it just sucks. Another thing, like people are gonna say, he didn't have Nico Collins in this game. He didn't have Dalton Schultz for most of the game because he got hurt. But I mean, like that's not an excuse to throw 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have Nico Collins for like other games too, and he played decent, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, also we threw it 47 times.
Yeah.
Because the run game was not working. Woody Marks in the other game he had 112 rushing yards. This game he had 17.
Yeah.
14 carries for 17 yards. Like that's just not when the run game doesn't work. You can't just or it's not going to open to other things. So you're just throwing it,
Yeah.
and it also didn't work, which led to picks.
And I feel like part of this game was C.J. Stroud was in his head too much about those early turnovers that he couldn't really bounce back from it. And the run game, of course, not being there. But I think part of that goes back to Joe Mixon not being there and how the run game has really sucked all season long. And when a dude the caliber of Joe Mixon is gone for your entire season and you don't know, like you don't hear any reports about when he's going to return, it really affects your team. Because Joe Mixon has been such a good player his entire career. And then when you replace Joe Mixon with Woody Marks and a regressed Nick Chubb, it's not a recipe for success, and we saw that. And then when C.J. Stroud's trying to force the ball downfield and it's just not working, I think this is a very disappointing season for the Texans, and I think they had every reason to win this game, and they just fell short.
Yeah.
Now, for the final game, we are talking about I think, the best playoff game in this entire playoffs, which is the Rams and Bears. Now, this game was very cold. It was like under 20 degrees. So, kicking wasn't really as much of an option. We saw like Ben Johnson be kind of aggressive on a lot of fourth down situations on the Rams field position, where if the like conditions were right, you'd probably say why aren't they going for 3? But obviously kicking wasn't necessarily as much of an option in this game. But man, I think that final throw really that final throw to end the fourth quarter to Cole Kmet was an incredible throw.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, that was. Oh no, you can.
No, you go.
Okay. That throw, like. Okay, wait. Looking at his box score, two touchdowns, 3 picks. I mean, he didn't have a good game, but you're gonna like he was the reason that like you went into overtime, that you were also able to even have like a chance, like fourth down, run 30 yards, 40 yards, throw that, and that was like one of the best plays I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But ultimately they couldn't come out with the win, and it was honestly it was also because of Caleb. 3 picks, one of them in the overtime. I don't even know what happened there. I guess it was just like a miscommunication between him and DJ Moore. But yeah, like I don't know. He also didn't play great, so the Bears definitely could have won this. But I feel like the Rams were gonna win, and I predicted that. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like for the Rams, I honestly feel like the Rams could have done more in this game. They could have capitalized on a little more situations. And same with the Bears. And I feel like the narrative would have been different if they don't convert on that crazy play downfield to Cole Kmet. I feel like the narrative would have been Caleb Williams sold this game. But on that possession where you are in overtime and you get a punt, you get the ball back from the Rams, right? And you have every opportunity to go downfield and win you a game, and you throw a pick, that's like gut wrenching, because they really had a lot of opportunities in that game to win that game, and they just fell short. But DJ Moore giving up on that route, I know it's kind of a miscommunication, but in a situation like that, if you are regarded as Caleb Williams' number one receiver, and you have a route that is over the middle of the field where you are going to cut and you're going to run across the middle of the field, you should expect the ball going to you. You should be looking and thinking, I'm my quarterback's first option. If you're already the first option in the offense and you have a simple route like that, you should be looking at it. And you should also know that any ball over the middle of the field, there's probably going to be a safety or linebacker that's going to be ready to hit me. And so you should be ready. You should be paying attention. You shouldn't be just jogging, not expecting the ball. And I feel like that's just kind of a rookie mistake by Caleb Williams, but that's also DJ Moore just not really paying attention in the most important part of the game. But for the Rams, this is a big win, and this is kind of just a testament to how they've played all season.
Yeah, the Rams, they've cut it close. Like I feel like majority of the games have been very close.
Yeah.
Like even with the Panthers, it was a 3-score game. Here it was a 3-score game, went into overtime. I feel like that's just how their season is gonna go. Like ultimately, like you have Matthew Stafford, who's a vet. Like you want him in like those close scenarios because he's been there so many times, and like just like him being in these close games, you expect him to win because he has the experience over the a ton of years. Compared to Caleb, like I think their games have been close, but they've always been trailing like this entire season. Like they've just been trailing. I feel like next season they gotta clean that up. And yeah, Caleb Williams when he's trailing, he's good, but obviously you don't want to be trailing. But yeah, I feel like that entire season they've just been trailing games, and ultimately you're not gonna win every single game you trail.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like that's where it just went downhill.
Yeah, like you're not gonna come from behind in every single game. And that's kind of like luck or your team kind of just waking up when it matters most. And that can be good, but when you play a team like the Rams, it's just not going to work. And even if the Bears win this game, they're not getting past the Seahawks. Now, for our last and final topic for today, we are going to talk about we are going to talk about the different coaches that have been fired. Now, we're going to be pretty brief with this, but a lot of coaches have been fired. I already made a video about all the coaches that have been fired. And go watch that. Go watch that. That was a good video. But there's been more coaches that have been fired. John Harbaugh got fired. Mike Tomlin stepped down. Mike McDaniel got fired. Sean McDermott got fired. A lot of coaches have been getting fired this season. And I think there's kind of a new era in the NFL where if your team doesn't have sustainable success, if your team's regular season success doesn't amount to anything in the playoffs, you're gone as a head coach. Even if it's not necessarily your fault, if it's not, it's just like, it's kind of weird to me. It's like you're not taking in, like, these owners aren't taking into every aspect of what happened in that season, which led your team to underperform.
Yeah, I feel like the new narrative. I think I agree. There also is a new narrative. I feel like if like you have the talent, or okay, wait, hold on. If you get into the playoffs or you have like the same record over and over and over again, but it's the same result over and over and over again, I feel like a new narrative's like you got to go. Something's got to
Yeah.
change, and we're gonna put it on you.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we've seen that Mike Tomlin. I feel like they've gone 10-7 or 9-8, been to the wild card like every single season. He got fired. They want something new. And like the Bills, they lost the division every single time. Like I feel like that's just like the new thing that's going around with coaches. And yeah, I think it's gonna continue for years. And Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh also as well, I guess. They
Yeah.
haven't done great in the playoffs, but I think he's a good coach. They're gonna find good places like John Harbaugh. He's with the Giants now. Like I think that's good. The Giants have a great defense. They just need someone to put it together. And yeah, I feel like those coaches they're gonna find a new place and they're gonna do good at their place.
Yeah. I feel like also part of this narrative is that all these teams that kind of get some playoff success or constantly make the playoffs, they're paying these quarterbacks so much money to where when you lose these games, you're paying your quarterback so much money, you're like, well, we can't really get rid of the quarterback. We've kind of like shot ourselves in the foot. Can't really get rid of the quarterback. So now the only kind of cheap way to get out of not having playoff success is be like, oh, it's the coach's fault. Even though it might not be the coach's fault, it's the player's fault. But you're paying the players so much money, you can't just be like, oh, it's your fault that we lost this playoff game. You're off the team. And so I feel like we've kind of seen a new era or new narrative that if you don't have playoff success, we're gonna blame it on the coach, even though even though it can be the players, but we're paying the players too much money to just be like you're gone off the team.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like we should talk about where we think the coaches are gonna go, and let's talk about the coaches who have been hired. So I want to talk about like someone like Kevin Stefanski. He
Yeah.
got hired as the Falcons head coach, and I think it's great. Like Raheem Morris, he was bad. He was bad. The record doesn't show it, but you have Bijan, Drake London, like Kyle Pitts, like, and your defense is stacked too. Like you should have made the playoffs easily. And I feel like someone with Kevin Stefanski who has been that coach of the year, who brought the Browns from being terrible to a playoff berth, which no one talks about. I feel like it's a great signing, and I feel like the Falcons will probably make the playoffs next season. I
Yeah,
feel like it's
I
great.
agree. And I think with the Kevin Stefanski hiring, I think I think what will ultimately happen is the Falcons defense will kind of see what happened in Cleveland where Kevin Stefanski took an overall bad team and then turned their defense into an amazing defense. Like their defense was really good this year, but I think they're going to be even better next year. And hopefully, Kevin Stefanski can get a good OC to pair alongside him that can really like unlock that offense to be what it truly should be with all those weapons. And now with the John Harbaugh firing, he just signed in New York. And I feel like it's going to be the same thing that we're going to see with Kevin Stefanski. The Giants have so much talent on that defense. And I feel like John Harbaugh is going to know how to use that talent. Because in Baltimore, right, John Harbaugh has been with that team for so many years. And it hasn't amounted to real any success. They're kind of riding off success that he's had over 10 years ago. And once again, like with Sean McDermott, maybe it's not on him all the time. Maybe they're kind of using him as a scapegoat to kind of just be like, well, we didn't have success this year, and maybe it was on bad defensive play. Maybe it was on Lamar Jackson, but we can't get rid of those people, so we're just gonna get rid of you. And I feel like next year we're gonna see New York take a leap that a lot of people weren't expecting them to take.
Yeah, New York. I feel like they've always been in this position where they have a top 10 pick. They're bad. I feel like with John Harbaugh, and now that they actually have a quarterback and they have the defense that's stacked, they'll definitely take a leap and maybe playoff berth.
Yeah,
And I want to talk about like if like Mike McDaniel, like if he where he goes, like that offense is going to be stacked because he's not a bad coach. He just had Tua, who's terrible, and you're not going to get rid of Tua like you said because he's making all this money. So you're going to get rid of Mike McDaniel, and wherever he goes, offensive coordinator or coach, he'll be good. And like someone like Sean McDermott, he'll also go to a great place.
Yeah, I feel like Sean McDermott and Mike McDaniel are the two most important coaches that are in the coaching market right now. Like wherever those two go, their team that they're gonna go to is gonna completely just elevate itself like immediately. And
Mhm.
like I feel like Mike McDaniel is probably one of the best offensive minded coaches that are currently available and currently in the NFL. Like immediately goes to Miami, gets Tyreek Hill, and just unlocks Tua, makes Tua look incredible, and kind of turns like what people thought was a bad draft pick in Tua into look like an amazing pick. But then obviously Tua's been hurt, and so but when Mike McDaniel can kind of get a quarterback who's healthy, he is going to unlock that offense and he is going to make the Dolphins look stupid completely. And he is going to make Tua look like the worst quarterback in the NFL because he's going to turn an offense into an amazing offense and people are going to say, "How come Tua couldn't do it?"
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. I don't know what to talk about. Oh, Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin,
He
yeah.
he's he's a defensive coach. So I feel like you should go somewhere with a great defense.
Yeah.
The teams available with great defenses. I would have to look at statistics and everything, but there's probably
You got the
wherever he goes.
Ravens.
Yeah, but I don't think they'll hire Mike Tomlin. But
Yeah,
someone with a good defense. Maybe Cleveland. Maybe
that is
maybe
true.
Cleveland.
I feel like a team like Cleveland is a desperate enough franchise to go for a coach that has beat them for so many years.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Cleveland's in a position to where they're at that position and with their franchise to where they've lost for so many years. They just need something good to happen and signing a coach like Mike Tomlin is just something good that will happen. So, yeah. So, with all that being said, we are going to end today's video. I know it was a really long video, but we're going to end today's video. I hope you all enjoyed, and we will be back next week following the conference championship games. I hope you all have an amazing day, and catch y'all later. Also, before we officially end, make sure to follow our Instagram and our TikTok. Link will be in the description of this video. But yeah, make sure y'all go follow the Instagram and TikTok. We're going to start posting more kind of short form content of our videos. But yeah, make sure to go follow those, like up all the videos, repost them, do whatever you want, share them with your friends and family. But yeah, with all that being said, I hope you have an amazing day. Goodbye, everybody.